New York, 1945. The war is over, but a new battle is beginning on the streets of the Big Apple. Do you hear that sound? The screech of tires on wet pavement whispers in the dark alleys of Little Italy, and the clinking of glasses in exclusive clubs where the fate of entire states is decided. This world is ruled by the 5 families. Everyone knows their names: Corleone, Tattaglia, Barricini. They are the gods of this concrete Olympus. But what if someone else appears in this shadow? Someone who doesn't play by the old rules of honor and vendetta, but builds their empire on cold calculation and invisible connections. Today we'll travel to an alternate history. We'll follow the path from the first stolen box of cigars to ruling cities. This isn't just a story about the Mafia. It's a survival guide to the golden age of organized crime. How do you create an organization that the FBI won't notice, but the kings of the criminal underworld will bow to? How do you create an organization that the FBI won't notice, but the kings of the criminal underworld will bow to? How do you survive where loyalty is worth less than a bullet, and your best friend can become your executioner? Get comfortable, pour yourself a whiskey, and lock the doors. We're beginning our ascent. Welcome to the family. The story begins not in a luxurious mansion, but in the cramped basement of a bakery in Little Italy. To survive in an era when New York City is divided between Vito Corleone and other patriarchs, you must find an empty niche. While the giants fight for dockside unions and large alcohol shipments, your group relies on information and logistics. You are not just a gang, you are the gray shadows. Your first team is not family, but outcasts. A former Wall Street accountant fired for fraud, your brain. A deserter skilled in the use of explosives, your strength. And a masterful Italian driver. The first serious step is seizing control of the underground lotteries in a neighborhood the Tattaglias consider too small. You don't use violence where cunning works. Instead of knocking down doors, you offer shopkeepers protection from petty thieves in exchange for 5% of their takings and, more importantly, their ears. By the end of the first chapter, you have a network of informants, from shoe shiners to waiters at the restaurants where the family captains dine. You become an invisible force who knows who's sleeping with whom and who owes money to whom before the Don himself even knows. The growth of your organization inevitably attracts attention. The Cuneo family notices that their income from illegal betting in Brooklyn has begun to decline. They send associates to teach them a lesson. This is a turning point. Either you bend the knee and become a pawn, or you declare war. You choose the third option, an asymmetrical strike. You don't engage in an open firefight on the streets. Using the information from the first chapter, you learn that one of the Cuneo captains is secretly embezzling money from the family's coffers. Instead of a bullet, you send him an anonymous letter with evidence and an offer. We'll help you cover it up if you help us occupy the warehouses on the docks. This is your first political play. However, when negotiations fall apart due to their hot-headedness, a Coppola-esque scene ensues, a classic ambush in a restaurant. But instead of violin music, there's silence and a single, well-aimed shot. You seize control of a port used for smuggling from Europe. Now you have access to rare goods and weapons. Your group gains a name on the streets. People whisper about you, those who don't miss. you impose a strict code. No drug dealing to avoid angering the Corleones, and absolute loyalty. It's the mid-1950s. Your organization is now a corporation. You've laundered part of your profits through a network of laundries and construction firms. While other families are preoccupied with the war following the assassination attempt on Vito Corleone, you're building a shadow government. Your strategy is corruption over aggression. You buy not just one police officer, but entire precincts, financing the election campaigns of judges. This chapter describes the mechanics of your influence. You create a system of mutual favors. If a politician needs to cover up a scandal, you help. If a union needs to put pressure on a factory owner, your people step in. You become an arbitrator. People come to you when the law is powerless. Your mafia differs from the old school in that you value intelligence over cruelty. You hire lawyers and accountants, creating a complex offshore system as much as was possible back then. However, conflict is brewing within the group. Your enforcer believes you've become too soft and clean. Tensions mount when Michael Corleone begins his purge of New York. You must decide, ally with the young, don or risk everything to remain an independent player in the new era. By the early 1950s, New York City is becoming crowded. The five families constantly spy on each other, and your every move in Brooklyn or Harlem is analyzed under a microscope. You realize that to become truly untouchable, you need your own El Dorado. You set your sights on Las Vegas, a city just beginning to emerge from the sands. While Bugsy Siegel and others are building gigantic hotels, your group is pursuing a different strategy: control of the entertainment infrastructure. You're not building the most expensive hotel. You're taking control of the companies that supply Vegas with everything from slot machines to premium liquor and food. This allows you to take a cut of each casino without owning it directly. This chapter details your conflict with the Chicago Syndicate, which considers Nevada its turf. A series of quiet clashes unfolds: sabotage of supplies, truck bombings on Route 66, and a complex diplomatic game with Michael Corleone, who is seeking an ally in his expansion west. You create a system of black accounting, where every penny that slips past the tax authorities ends up in your suitcases. It is here that your group transforms from a local gang into a national conglomerate. You learn to operate remotely, using phone lines and encrypted messages, turning the desert into your personal gold mine. At the height of your power, the most dangerous threat emerges, not the police or competitors, but internal disunity. Your right-hand man, the man you started with in the bakery basement, begins to doubt your course toward legalization. He doesn't need stocks and bonds. He misses the days when matters were settled with lead, and he sees weakness in your caution. This chapter unfolds the classic drama of betrayal. You learn that some of your captains have begun secretly collaborating with the Barasani family, planning a coup. This chapter describes a psychological game of cat and mouse. You're no longer a street fighter, you're a grandmaster. Instead of eliminating the traitors immediately, you host a lavish banquet, the reconciliation dinner. Every minute of this episode in the video should be saturated with suspense. The clink of crystal, casual glances, a hand resting on a holster under the table. You give the traitor a chance to repent, but when you realize the point of no return has been passed, a series of lightning strikes follows. This is the bloodiest part of the script. revealing that behind the gentlemanly facade lies a predator. You purge the ranks, but the price is high. You lose your last friends, remaining completely alone at the top of the pyramid. This is the chapter about how power burns away humanity, leaving only the function of the Don. The late 1950s, the Senate Committee on Organized Crime begins hearings. The names of Corleone, Genovese, and Gambino are splashed across the newspapers, but your name isn't there. This is your triumph. While other dons sit in courtrooms, you complete the process of fully integrating into the legitimate economy. The chapter describes Operation Clean Slate, during which you hand over archives on your competitors to the FBI through front men, effectively destroying the old world with proxy hands. You invest the millions you've accumulated in Vegas and New York in promising technologies, aviation, early computer developments, and suburban real estate. Your Mafia ceases to be a criminal organization in the classic sense. It becomes an investment fund with highly specialized lobbying methods. The video concludes with a powerful monologue about the nature of power in America. You explain that true victory in the style of the Godfather isn't being feared on the streets, but rather when your children attend the best schools and your business is protected by the laws of the country you once plundered. You retreat into the shadows, leaving behind an empire that can't be destroyed because it's no longer visible. The scene smoothly transitions into a historical account of how real-life prototypes of such groups shaped the face of the modern financial world.